with the upcoming release of Lightfall, our mods are about to be changed forever. With that knowledge, a lot of our current builds in the game aren't going to perform the way they are right now. So I wanted to start a series leading up to Lightfall where I make a build with every single class and subclass that we currently have in the game. These builds are not going to take advantage of any combat style mods and heavily focus on fragments, exotics, and aspects. Normally, if you use these builds with mods equipped, it is just the cherry on top. And of course, before you start doing anything in Lightfall, you can obviously take a look at the new mod system and try to insert what you think might work. This is just supposed to be a clean slate and give you all an idea of what is some of the strongest stuff in the game right now for each of the classes. If anything changes in the future, I will make an updated video talking about what I think could be better. And like I said, if you're interested in every single class and subclass, be sure to check out the channel and give the series a watch. But hey, if you're in the market for a brand new PC, look no further than my custom line of Apex Gaming PCs. These are price optimized to run Destiny 2 and can be completely customized the way you want it. All the links you need are in the description of this video. Remember, you can save up to $250 on your next purchase when you use code REST. And this one, I want to go over the Void Titan. Honestly, a very fun subclass, and it is very, very strong. So with a lot of Void builds, they play relatively similar, where the Titan is going to work kind of similar to the Warlock. The point of this is to spam as many grenades as possible that does a lot of damage and have pretty much infinite uptime with them. Even without combat mods, we can still make this very viable with things we currently have in the game, and I imagine when Lightfall launches, it is going to become even better. All right, so starting off, let's start talking about our aspects, and we're going to be running Controlled Demolition and Offensive Bulwark. Controlled Demolition says hitting a target with a void ability or volatile explosion makes them volatile. Further damage to a volatile target causes them to explode, grants you and nearby allies health when volatile targets explode near you. So essentially, if you like volatile rounds, if you like blowing things up, this is definitely the aspect for you. Typically, you try to apply them to their weapons, which we will be able to do with this build, but now all your abilities will apply them, and your volatile explosions will also proc other volatiles, so it kind of makes like a chain reaction. And if that wasn't enough, it also heals you, which is very good for survivability. Now, we also have Offensive Bulwark, so while you have a Overshield or inside a Ward of Dawn, your grenade recharges significantly faster. You have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows extend the duration of your Overshield. Gain additional shield throw while you're in Sentinel Shield. So this is going to be very good because we want to spam our grenade as much as possible. So if we have an Overshield, we're going to get even more grenade cooldown rate. The melee part of this doesn't matter too much, but it is a nice little benefit if you do want to extend that Overshield duration. And then the final part where you get additional shield throw doesn't matter really at all because we're going to be running Ward of Dawn. You can technically run Sentinel Shield if you want to. It is, relatively good for, blocking all the damage to give your teammates a damage buff, but for the most part, just throwing a Ward of Dawn down, it's really, really good for protection, and you get that nice damage buff as well. Now, the way we're going to be making Offensive Bulwark work, try saying that 3 times fast, is with shield throw. If you don't know, when you actually throw your shield with this melee ability, you will actually generate yourself a small overshield. Now, since this is granting an overshield, this will inherently make your grenade recharge a lot faster. Now, if you want to run Bastion, you could do this. You will lose a fragment slot, and honestly, I like having the extra fragment slot. But if you want to take this and maybe swap this out for Shield Bash, that is definitely something you could do. But as of right now, I just like running Offensive Bulwark with this combined because you're going to have pretty much infinite melees with this build as well. Then I also running Rally Barricade just because it has a lower cooldown than Towering Barricade. But if you need more survivability, throw on Towering Barricade. Now for fragments, I have Echo of Remnant. So your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, and Void Spike, and Axiom Bolt have increased duration. So this just means my Vortex Grenade, which is the main grenade I'm going to be running, will have more duration. This grenade is just a huge AoE. It pulls people in. It will do a lot of damage. Now to amplify that grenade, I'm also going to be running Echo of Undermining. Your void grenades will weaken targets. Not only is this really good for just applying a debuff to a boss or a high health target, this also just makes the grenade a lot easier to kill things. If it traps up a lot of smaller tier adds in it, they will just for sure die because you're going to be applying a 15% debuff on them. And then I run Echo of Instability. So when I defeat a target with my grenade, it will grant me volatile rounds to my void weapons. So again, my Vortex Grenade will be applying volatile with Controlled Demolitions on top of it healing you, and my void weapon will now be applying volatile as well, which again will chain react with Controlled Demolition. Then finally, I like to run Echo of Starvation. So picking up an Orb of Power grants Devour. This is going to be really strong in my opinion. This is also getting somewhat of a buff because picking up the Void Sprites are going to also grant you Devour. Orbs of Power are going to be huge in Lightfall because it is all about the new armor charge system. So you might as well equip this so you can always grab Devour. Now, if you don't know what Devour does, when you get a kill, it will fill a huge chunk of your grenade energy on top of healing you to full. Pairing that with all the overshields you're getting and just the heal from Controlled Demolition, you're just pretty much an unkillable tank with this build. It is very hard for you to die, and the ad clear of this is just crazy. Now, weapons for this build, you can run any void weapon, but definitely would recommend that so you can take advantage of volatile rounds. And I like to run the Unforgiven. This can roll with Demo and go in Tricorn. It can also run with Repulsor Brace, which could be very good for this build because you will get a void overshield to proc offensive bulwark. Fortunately, I just don't have one with Repulsor Brace. I honestly would recommend Demo Repulsor Brace for this because Demo also will give you more grenade energy, which pairs with Devour. If you don't have a good Unforgiven, Funnel Web will also work. I just prefer the Unforgiven. Now, I'm also going to be running a Riptide with Chill Clip specifically because this is going to let me stun Overload and Unstoppable champions. The Slow will stun Overload and the Shatter from Stasis will stun Unstoppable. So this is just pretty much a champion killing weapon. And what's really cool is that if you have volatile rounds coming out of your weapon in Lightfall, that also is intrinsic anti-bear. So you have all three champions right here in both your guns, and with match game going away, you can run this in literally any activity you want to, which is so nice. Now for power weapons, I just have a Sleeper Simile equipped. We don't know what the exact meta is going to be currently, so just, you know, obviously keep in mind and swap this out to whatever you need to run for a power weapon. For stats, I would highly recommend 100 resilience. This is still going to give you a 30% damage reduction in Lightfall. It is getting nerfed a little bit, but it's still going to be by far the strongest. And on Titan, you do get more barricade cooldown, which is really, really good. 100 discipline for sure, because you want to spam those grenades infinite as much as possible. And if you can get 100 strength, I would highly recommend going for that too. You don't really need recovery because you're going to be healing with Devour and Controlled Demolition 24/7 anyway. So if you can get 100 strength, if you want to go for triple 100s, that is definitely a solid thing to do. Now to help out with ability spam, we're obviously going to be running Heart of Endless Light. This is a no-brainer. Has the exotic perk Overflowing Light. Use an ability, grenade, melee, or barricade, empowers the other two abilities. Empower means abilities have faster regen, melees and grenades do more damage, and barricades have more hit points. So literally everything in this build we're taking advantage of. Our melee to get our overshield, our barricade to keep getting more cooldown, our grenades are going to be a main part of at clear, and also applying debuffs to bosses. This is essentially just giving everything more damage and more cooldown rate. That extra grenade damage plus the debuff that it will apply pairs extremely nice for killing lower tier enemies in things like GMs. And Heart of Endless Light is just by far the best exotic in the game. It is a no-brainer to run this. Now for mods, I would highly recommend taking an Ashes to Asset so you gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. This will get you more Water Dawns, and what's cool is that when you pop Water Dawn, it will actually refill your grenade energy as well, and also just makes you very tanky. It makes that grenade recharge faster. It's all around just very good. You get the damage buff. It's really a no-brainer to take this. Now Harmonic Siphon, so when I defeat enemies with a weapon that matches my subclass type, I'll make an Orb of Power. Obviously the Orb of Power is going to be really good for proccing Devour with Echo of Starvation, but also you will be getting armor charges from orbs in Lightfall, so that is definitely something to keep in mind. Now, I also like to run an SMG loader just so I can reload the Unforgiven a little bit faster, and a bolstering detonation so I get granted some class ability energy when I damage enemy with a grenade. So again, you want to spam all your abilities as much as possible, so that grenade giving you some class ability energy is going to be really nice, and we'll also play into some other mods when we get into them on our class item. Now, always remember, take your resistant mods. Like I say in every single video, things like Energy Diffusion Substrate currently in this season is going to be an unlockable perk. So you want to take these permanent ones now, so just always be sure to equip these to get that extra damage reduction because it really does help out with survivability. And I also like to take double absolution. Now if you want to swap these out for other things, you can, but I think this plays really well into the build. So this will reduce all your ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power. These do stack, and since you're making orbs all the time with Harmonic Siphon and you're Unforgiven, this will now just help out with getting all your cooldowns back like Heart of Endless Light already does. So you could just spam your abilities even more, and again, this is with no combat style mods, and you have pretty much infinite uptime. And then finally, I like to run a Bomber on my class item, so it will reduce my grenade cooldown when I pop my class ability. Again, pairing this with Bolster Detonation, your grenade gives you class ability, your class ability gives you grenade. You could just keep going back and forth in tandem with those, and you can keep your Heart of Endless Light procs up as well. And while all that's going on, your melee is also always going to be up, which will always give you that overshield, again, which will always give you those extra benefits. Now, what's really cool is that I would highly recommend running an explosive finisher with this build. So finishers restore your grenade, and it requires 1/5 of your super energy. This actually will get changed in Lightfall, require an armor charge, but as of right now in the game, what you can do with it is actually take your super away, so you could always make sure you're able to pick up an Orb of Power for Echo of Starvation. A problem with a mod like this is that you can't pick up orbs if your super is full. So if you run something like this to actually just drain your super, then you can pick an orb up, and it doesn't take that much. Plus also it's very beneficial to get your grenade back. If you need to just throw your grenade across the map, get a finisher, then you can pick your orb up and you are good to go. If the armor charge system does change this up in Lightfall, I would recommend just throwing on an additional bomber just so you can get more grenade energy with your class ability. But that's pretty much the build to round it up. Literally all you're doing, again, just throw your barricade, your melee, your grenade, literally everything. Heart of Endless Light's going to work for you in the background to give you more damage. Your grenade is giving you a ton of damage with all your fragments. On top of that, your shield throw is giving you more cooldown rate because of offensive bulwark. Your chain reacting everything with controlled demolition. You have a very good super for PvE as well, just for survivability and some extra damage. You have access to all your champion mods, and there's honestly just nothing that is bad with this build. Everything about it is just super duper easy to use, super duper strong, and it's very fun to play. Now, if you all would like to try this build out, I will have a dim link to it in the description below. And if you all enjoy and learn anything new, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn those notifications on. Also, if you like, join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough, and that every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.